Hi friends, welcome back to week 2 of my term 2 curriculum updates. Last week I talked about our family or group subjects, so science, geography, and history, as well as our morning basket, what we've had in it for term 2 and what we completed and how we felt about what we have in our morning basket. Today I'm going to be talking about my 4th and 5th graders' more independent curriculum, or the curriculum that is more on their level. And later this week, you will see a video on my 6th and 7th graders' independent work or curriculum, things that are more on their level as well. So this is more language arts, math, Bible, and some electives. If you're new here, my name is Davine and I homeschool 4 kids ages 10, 11, 11, and 14. They are in 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th grade technically, but my boys are at a very similar level. So my 4th and 5th grade boy, they do some very similar things. And I would say even my 4th grade boy does some things that are a little bit harder than my 5th grade boy, just because he has some more learning challenges. So first thing on my checklist, I'm going to be going over our daily checklist and what we do each day, and that will just make sure I cover all of the things that we do in a week. So the first thing I have there is our personal devotions. It's the first thing that we start with every day. So the kids spend about 15 minutes on that. Now I did buy my kids new Bibles this year because the other ones were getting kind of worn and torn. So they have some new Bibles here, and I also wanted them all to have the same translations. So I just got NIV so that we all can be reading out of the same translation when I'm reading the Bible and when they're reading the Bible. So I got these adventure Bibles for 3 of my kids, different styles and colors. But as I'm going through, as I'm thinking of this, I will link in the description box below a link to any resources that I can. Some of them will be affiliate links and some won't, just depending on the product or the item. If you do use those affiliate links, I obviously really appreciate it. It does help support this channel. It gives me a little money for coffee and things like that. Okay, so for devotions, like I said, we have our new Bibles that we're using, and all of my kids are doing something from Word of Life. It's like this. This is the grade 3 and 4. So the boys are using the grade 3 and 4 level. And each week, each day has like a little tiny bit to do. So they read a verse there and then they kind of answer the questions. Every day is different. They're going through this pretty quickly. They often do 2 things a day just because it is very simple. So I don't know, we will get pretty far in here. It is a 52-week program, so they may be halfway through at this point. I do have plans for what we're going to do after this, and I will talk about that in my curriculum reveals video, more about what we plan on doing for devotions next year. But this year, this is working fine. They can do it pretty independently with a little bit of help, especially in the beginning, to find the verse. And sometimes they don't understand the assignment, but generally they can do it on their own. So that's been really well. So both of my boys have been doing this level, Conquer One Day Daily Devotions. So the next thing on our chart is math. The boys are doing teaching textbooks, math 4 at this point. And I'm just going to show you this because this is the main part of it. In general, teaching textbooks is an online program. You can do it on the computer or on the tablet. However, that online portion has been a struggle for us. So we have had to move more into the workbooks. And for a while there, I was having them do the workbook and filling it in on the computer or on their tablet at the same time. And even that was not working. So at this point, my boys will read the lesson in here. They will do all the questions, and then they will enter their answers into the tablet. And the reason for that is it just allows me to not have to mark their work. If they get less than 80%, I will delete all the questions they got wrong on that lesson, and I will go through with them and make sure that we get the right answers and just see where they're struggling and help them out with that. So that is working for us at this time. Teaching textbooks, I do try to stay with it as long as possible. Most of my kids are using teaching textbooks. I've only had to change one kid over to something else because it just was not working for her. But it has been working really well these years. And so we just make sure we have the physical copy to do the work in there, and then we can enter in the grades on the tablet. Okay, so I will say that the spine of my boys' language arts is Language Lessons for the Elementary Child by Queen Homeschool. Now, this is a homeschool company that I don't hear a lot about, but I have really enjoyed this workbook. It is very Charlotte Mason based. It is very gentle, gradual. The lessons are very short. In fact, they are so short that I often have my boys either do 2 or 3 lessons when they do this. We don't do this every day. So I do want to get through this book in this year and actually even start on the next book. But they are very gentle lessons, so it's very easy to do several lessons. So I do recommend this if you want something super light for your kids, if your kids don't need a lot of extra reinforcements, or if you want just a language arts spine, let's call it. And then you can add on the pieces that each child needs additional help with. So in this book, I have talked about it before, but let's just take a look at some of the middle lessons here. Every so often they will start a new section. So they will have like a picture study. They will have the child talk about the picture. They will have them answer a few questions about the picture. Then they will have several pages of copy work. So each of these paragraphs is supposed to be one lesson. What I will do is I will have them do one copy work section, and then I will have them skip a few pages and do some of the grammar sections. So maybe they'll have 2 sections to do in grammar and 1 copy work passage. So as you can see, they have like an introduction to certain concepts, and they have some activities for the child to do with that concept. And so it will be a few pages like this of grammar, and then they will go back to doing another, so a few pages, I'm just gonna flip ahead here a bit, a few pages of that, and then they'll go back to another picture study, writing copy work of a poem or passage of some sort, and then some grammar activities. So it covers those things. There's a tiny bit of story writing, but most of it is copy work, basic grammar, and some oral narration sort of things. So that is my base or my spine for my language arts. And then I add on top of that what my boys need, whether it be phonics, spelling, just whatever each child needs. Each child does not need the same thing, so I add on the extras that they need. So both of my boys are doing Explode the Code. They are on different levels. So I have one boy who is in the 6.5, and that is my 5th grader. And then my 4th grader is in 8. He has almost completed all the Explode the Codes. And so the reason why they're on different Explode the Codes is, first of all, their natural abilities. My 4th grader is very good with spelling and writing and things like that. And my 5th grader really struggles with writing and phonics and spelling and things like that. So I make him do all the half levels. So he's been going through, Explode the Code has some levels that have half levels. So like, I think 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, and then he will be doing 7 and 8. I don't think those have half levels, but that is why he's still on 6.5. He has to do a little bit more. And I'm really appreciative that Explode the Code has that, because we just completed level 6 and we did the post test, and he's still really struggling with those words and the combinations. So 6.5 is just going to reinforce the same things in a different way. So they're going to have different activities to reinforce those phonetic sounds that he is learning in 6. So Explode the Code has worked really well for us. We started with Explode the Code our first year of homeschooling, and this is our 3rd year, and we are still using it. The only time we stop using it is when the kids have finished all the levels. So if you're looking for something to reinforce kids' phonetic skills or even their spelling abilities and reading abilities, I do recommend taking a look at Explode the Code. And it's pretty independent, which is really good to have some things that kids can do independently. Next is something new that we added just a few weeks ago. I was feeling like my boys needed a little more writing practice, writing structure, things like that. So I was asking my parent partnership program for a certain writing program. They said no, they can't get it for me right now. I will ask for it next year. So if you want to know what that is, stick around for my curriculum reveals next month. But in the meantime, they had a whole shelf full of curriculum that I could look at and choose from, things that people didn't end up using. And I picked up this, Winning with Writing, and it is level 3. So I'm assuming that is a grade 3 level. And this is first semester. So there are 2 books that go in this series. I have both first semester and second semester. So it is level 3. which is not a terrible thing in my opinion for my boys. They have not done a whole lot of formal writing, and so I just wanted to go through the steps at a very simple manner, and this was the level that they had available, but I might have chosen it anyways if 4 had been available as well. So I am actually really liking this. It is not too challenging for my boys, but they are learning some of the basics of writing and word choice and things like that. So here's the table of contents if you're interested in seeing what the first semester covers. But so far we've done things like word order, sentences, choosing strong verbs and using adverbs, using colorful adjectives, varying their sentences. So it will have a very simple lesson like this, and then they will be asked to do an activity based on what they've learned. And it's just very, very slow steps, getting more and more complicated as they go. At this point, they're only writing maximum, maybe 1 sentence per question. So maybe a max of 3 sentences in a lesson. And they have both been enjoying it, which is not something I would say for most writing curriculums for my kids. So they do enjoy this curriculum. It was not my choice when I went out to look for a curriculum, but it has been working really well. So if you want a simple step-by-step writing curriculum and you want it to be kind of like a workbook that will lead your kid slowly through all the steps of the writing process, you might want to look up Winning with Writing. So far, I've been impressed. Not something I expected to be using, but it is working for us at this time. So for my 5th grade boy who needs a little extra help with spelling and phonics and things like that, he is just started this spelling you see, C, level C. He just finished B, which was nursery rhymes and things like that. And then this is all about different animals, facts about animals. So he is enjoying that. I really do like the spelling you see method. It is definitely unconventional. It is not the typical spelling program. They have them start out very simply with shading in a certain color, certain chunks. So he's doing vowel chunks right now. And then they will write part of this passage here. Each day they will write a few lines of the passage and they have them shade in the chunks. And so day 1 would be like that. Day 2 would be similar. You would do shading again. You would do writing probably the second part of the passage. Day 3, shading again, writing the first part of the passage. Day 4 is usually a free, so you do the shading, but then there's a free write, which I generally just have him do copy work of the second part of the passage again. And then the 5th day would be a dictation where I would read the passage to him and have him write it down as I'm telling him each phrase. However, for my son who really struggles with writing, it is very hard for him. It's a fine motor skill thing. We don't do the whole passage when we do the dictation. I will maybe say a sentence or 2, and then I'll pick a few of the words from the passage that are important that he needs to know how to spell. So that's how we do spelling you see. We take it very slow. We do 3 of these days each week. So it takes us just over a week and a half to do 1 lesson. So we just take it slow, which is why we're just starting C right now. I would say it takes us about a year and a half to get through 1 level for both this son and my other daughter who uses this program. So our last language arts component that I just added to their independent work is from Michael Clay Thompson's Language Arts Level 1 program that we have been doing. We finished the books, we finished Grammar Island, we finished Sentence Island, and throughout we were working on Practice Island. So this is basically sentence analysis. And when we were doing it together as a group, we would do 2 sentences each time. So we would do like 1 sentence here, 1 sentence there, and we would do that together as a group. So we had done probably about 50 of those sentences, and now we're done with the group stuff as far as Michael Clay Thompson goes. So I'm just assigning these to my boys maybe twice a week, just 1 sentence. So just having them practice it now on their own, seeing if they can label the parts of speech. So basically what they are doing is, so they will label the parts of speech on the first line. They will figure out what's the subject, what type of verb it is, if there's subject complement or direct objects or indirect objects. They will find the prepositional phrases on the 4th line, and on the 5th line, they will write if it's 1 clause or 2 clauses, and then what sort of sentence is it? Is it a declarative or exclamatory, or what type of sentence it is? So another language arts component is something that I do PDFs of. I have all the levels now from maybe 2nd level to 7th, I think is the last one. I have it. So I have all the PDFs, I've purchased them all. I have kids that are currently working on level 3 all the way up to level 6. So I just got 7 in preparation for next year. But my 4th grader, he is on level 4, and this is what it looks like. Each page is a little bit different. My kids really do enjoy the good and the beautiful handwriting. So this one is the second part of cursive. So level 3 is when you're just starting cursive. So my fifth grader is doing level 3. This is his second time through, but he's actually able to do it much better than last year. So it's working out really well. He's working his way through level 3 and we'll be starting level 4. And then this 4th grader is working on level 4 right now. And they really enjoy it. It's something that they choose to do as one of their first things quite often. So that covers our math, language arts, personal devotion time, things like that. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about our supplemental programs that we do on the computer. So a few things my boys are still doing is typing.com. They're both working on that program and it's working fine. I like it. It's free. It's a great typing program. They're progressing through it. I try to make them get 3 stars for each level so they're not going too fast, that they're using the correct fingers. I don't really want them to do it quickly. I want them to do it accurately. So we're working on that. They are both doing Time for Math Facts. This is our 2nd year on that. One son is almost done his addition and subtraction facts fast enough to move on. The other son, my 4th grader, who usually is more advanced than my 5th grader, is really struggling with this. I think it's the computer online thing. It's not, he doesn't always do great with computer programs. So he's still kind of struggling with the addition and subtraction, getting those fast. He gets distracted, I think. And then we are still using code.org. They just do like a lesson a week on that. That's just something fun that I've added. It's not super necessary. It is free if you want to look it up. It goes through, it's kind of fun. It has logic puzzles, sort of how to code and how to make certain things happen on the computer. So that's fun. And they also have some computer safety components on there as well. And finally, they do Miacademy about twice a week. I have a few lessons I want them to do before they get to the games. So they really do enjoy the games and the town. I think it's their world area. They really like that. So they do the lessons. I think it's geography and science lessons that I have assigned twice a week for them to do. So that's working well as well. All right, so that covers what we are doing in term 2 for my boys, for my 4th and 5th grader. That's how everything's going for us as far as those things go. Do you have a 4th or 5th grader? How are things going for you? What are some of your favorite curriculum or materials that you're using with them right now? I would love to hear it. Thanks so much for coming today. And don't forget to check out my 6th and 7th graders video that is coming out this week. If you haven't subscribed and you'd like to see that, don't forget to subscribe. And if you like this video, please do give me a like. Thank you so much for coming today, and I hope to see you in my next video. Goodbye, everyone.